Hello, everybody. It's Gary Stuckey with Real Music. On today's show, I've got the awesome guitarist from Tesla, Frank Hannon, is here talking about their brand new album, the live album, Full Throttle. And of course, his career, got a lot of cool stories from him. He's currently in Las Vegas. They're finishing up their residency out there. Had a great time. The reception on the interview, kind of fuzzy, that internet service out there in Las Vegas. But we got through it, had a great time. But here he is. Here's Frank Hannon. How's it going?
It's going good, Gary.
Awesome. You're jamming. You've been playing some music in Las Vegas for a little bit, right? That's cool.
Oh yeah, this whole year has been insane. Are we starting this now, or you have
Yeah,
to do an intro, or
I
are
can.
we? Is this?
We can go with it right now
Are
if
we?
you want.
I can't tell.
Yeah, you go ahead. We can start
Are
now.
we live?
Yeah, whatever. I can edit if you want to say. I'm just saying we can go whenever you get ready to start it.
Okay, no, yeah, I was just curious because if we were going to start talking, I didn't want to start rambling. Sometimes I'll do these things and I'll be talking away, and then the guy will say, "Okay, well, let's go ahead and start now."
Yeah. Well, I like to include that stuff in there because sometimes it's just kind of cool to chat. It's kind of like if I was there with you and we were sitting around, having some coffee at a table, it would be like that. It wouldn't be like so proper and just it's just relaxing. So it's just whatever.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, my friend. I got
Yes.
you this casual conversation with
Yeah.
Gary and Frank on the
Yes.
Real Music podcast.
That's right. Very good.
Uh,
Good
cool.
intro. Good
Thanks.
plug. Yes, sir. Um, but talking about Las Vegas, that's got to be fun. And those fans there are really excited. They've already had you a few times this year. They wanted you back, and they can't get enough of you. Does that make you feel good?
Well, yeah, it really it's a new chapter for us at our age and what we're doing. The fans that you're talking about are flying in from all over the country to come to Las Vegas. Speaking of Las Vegas, there's my
There it is.
view,
Awesome.
Mandalay Bay right there. And
Yeah.
like when you're sitting in a hotel like this, you can't complain, man. You don't have to travel every night. Normally we're getting on that bus and bouncing down the highway, and our poor road crew, they've got to set stuff up and tear it down and set it up and unload that semi truck. I mean,
Yes.
it's a lot of freaking work. So this kind of a gig makes it nice for everybody, for our road crew, for us, and for our fans that get to take a vacation and fly
Right.
here.
Right.
Pretty cool. It's like
What
land here for adults.
exactly. And what a vacation it is, especially to hear some good music. I mean, Las Vegas is cool on its own, and then you have a band like Tesla jamming. So, how do you decide what songs you do whenever you go out and play?
Well, that was the exciting thing about this experience for me at the start of the year when we were planning to come here in March. The band got together in my garage in February and started looking at our catalog. And honestly, I mean, I'll just be real honest with you. We have to base what songs we play on what can Jeff sing. I mean, he's 64 years old, maybe 65. I'm not even sure. We're not like 20 years old anymore screaming these songs that we wrote 40 years ago. You
Right.
got to remember, I mean, songs 40 years ago at the top of his lungs. And so
Yeah.
what we do is we test the songs out in a rehearsal setting. And we did that in my garage earlier this year. We filmed our new video for SOS, the Aerosmith. Too Bad. It's an old Aerosmith song.
Right. Awesome song. Yeah.
Service here in Vegas is kind of weird. But anyway, so we jam on the songs, and then at sound checks we'll practice. We'll pick two or three to change. Because The majority of the songs that we play, we have to play for the fans. You know, Modern Day Cowboy, love songs, Little Susie, Signs, What You Give,
Yeah.
Edison's Medicine. You know, those songs are what we call staples. And then the
Right.
ones that we switch out are like, you know, Song and Emotion, We're No Good Together, Private Ledbetter. You know, last night we did a song called I Want to Live, which is one of our what we call B songs, you know,
Right.
that Jeff can sing and sound great on.
Right. Talking about birthdays, you just had a birthday a couple days ago, right? Happy birthday.
I Yeah, I'm now 57 years old.
Yeah, that
And mentally, man, I'm feeling better than ever. Got some silver gray going on there.
that's a bummer. That's hey, it just means you're still around to do it. The live album you recorded this past year, that was a lot of fun. You know, I was thinking about you're probably the most famous album that you did, the 5 man acoustical jam. You know, everybody thinks about that album. So was this fun to make, you know, record and release? And does it remind you of that album, the 5 man acoustical jam? Because that was an exciting live album.
Well, yeah, the 5 man acoustical jam is 100% real live. I mean, it's raw. It's got mistakes on it. It's edgy. And we captured what they say, they capture lightning in a bottle. That's a phrase that we use when you capture magic. And
Yeah,
the 5 man acoustic jam was definitely a magical time in our career. Our new one, Full Throttle Live, same thing. We were at the Full Throttle Saloon at Sturgis, the America's Bike Rally. I'm a motorcycle enthusiast. I love bikes. And I remember it being a great show. And Jesse James Dupree from Jackal is a good buddy of ours, and he runs the place. And I was telling Brian, we should examine that show because we recorded it. We record every night.
okay.
So we went back to that show specifically and listened to it, and it was great. So that's the story behind that one.
Awesome. And the Aerosmith, I'm guessing you're a big Aerosmith fan, and that's why you love to record. That's why you want to record that SOS song, right? That's probably one of your reasons, right?
Well, yeah, you were just mentioning live albums that are exciting. Aerosmith Live Bootleg is one of my favorite live albums. It's so awesome, and the version that they do of SOS Too Bad on that is so rocking. And Jeff Keith, our singer, man, he's like an enigma of Steven Tyler. I mean, you know, he's definitely influenced by Steven Tyler. So
Sure.
we wanted to pick a song off that live bootleg album and pay tribute to it.
Right. Why do you think fans appreciate live albums so much? You know, and obviously they appreciated the 5 man acoustical jam, but why do you think they just appreciate those live albums so much?
Well, I think it's because you can really hear the energy and the interaction between the audience and the performer. And me being a fan, when I was a kid in the 70s, Frampton Comes Alive changed my life. I mean, I heard that audience and I heard the way Peter Frampton was playing that guitar.
Yeah.
Every album that I was into as a young budding guitar player, as a 12-year-old kid in 1976 through 1978, was a live album. Foghat live, Rick Derringer live, Ted Nugent double live, Gonzo, Kenny Rush live, Aerosmith live bootleg, Rolling Stones Get Your Yayas Out is a great live album. You know, so as a fan, when you hear the energy of the audience and the band together, there's nothing better than that. That's what it's all about. And I don't
Sure.
care about streaming and iTunes and CDs, or will never go away because people can feel that. And that's what I love.
Sure. Sure. And talking about, you know, the 5 man acoustical jam, what I love about that, when you were recording like Love Song and you had that extended intro, which I love. See, the thing is, when I was listening to you when I was younger, and you're playing, on the original song, the electric guitar, I'm like, I got to pick up a guitar. I got to learn that song. So awesome, so cool, that solo. Then you play the live version on the 5 man acoustical jam, and you do that intro, the little flamenco thing. And I said, I got to pick up a guitar, acoustic guitar, and play like that, but I never could. I wonder why. But that was so good. How did you come up with those intros on the Love Song?
Gosh, well, first of all, thank you for those compliments. Paganini and Vivaldi, trying to learn really note for note some classical music. And then I'll go through a phase where I learn jazz chords and things on the guitar. And that's a beautiful thing about music, is even at like 57 years old, I still love to learn something new, and you can always learn something new with music. And
Yeah,
I feel
sure.
very lucky about that, to have music in my life.
Yeah. I'm thankful for people like you that have been playing the music that I've been enjoying through all these years. But but Love Song, I think, is the song that really introduced me to you, in the band. I know you had an album out, but I think I came up on, I heard Love Song, I think, on Casey Kasem, the top 40 or something. And I was like, these guys are awesome. So I had to go back and listen. And then I experienced all that, through the live album. And then through the years, I was like, y'all have a certain sound that's really not imitated, and it don't really sound like anybody else, which is good. Why do you think the band is still around after all these years? Is that part of it?
It's a combination of things. Our fan base are very loyal people, and they really they really get a lot of escape and a lot of feeling from our songs. They love our songs, and I'm very grateful for that. From our standpoint, our singer, Jeff Keith, really writes lyrics that are very simple, but they're from the heart. And like what you were just saying, I'm very grateful for bands like Leonard Skinner, and that wrote songs like Simple Man and Freebird and Give Me 3 Steps, songs that you can relate to. And that's what we've always tried to do. And Jeff Keith, our singer, I give him full credit for the lyrics that he's written. And then on a musical level, we were just talking about, I was just talking about the different elements, classical, jazz, country, metal, all of that stuff combined. When you hear Tesla, it's like Tesla's got a whole assortment of influences that I personally bring in that make it sound a little different than just a straight up like 80s rock band, So
Right.
musically, it's got a lot of colors to it, our sound, and lyrically, it's got a lot of heart from Jeff. So you put those two things together, and Brian, our bass player, man, he's very business minded, and he's very great at keeping the machine rolling. And he brings in his Beatles influence, which is, you can hear some of that in our music. So
Sure.
the combination of a team effort between Brian, Jeff Keith, and myself as the three original members, and what we bring to the table. And then, of course, we got Dave Rude, who's an amazing guitarist who brings his positive energy to the band. And now we've got Steve Brown, same thing, amazing drummer, positive energy. And those two guys mixed with the three original guys, Tesla is really on a really positive note right now.
Awesome. Well, looking back on your career, I know I see you've got your Eddie Trunk shirt. I know some of the guys were on that show recently, and they said their favorite Tesla album. Of course, that's a question some people can't answer. Can you answer your favorite Tesla album?
Um, well, there's a couple that come to mind for different reasons. I mean, obviously, the first four that we did, my favorite being Mechanical Resonance, the first one. The reason being, it was such an awesome experience going to New York and going up to Bearsville up in the woods. And we had worked on those songs in the clubs. And for me, I was like 17 years old when we were writing them songs. I was a young teenage kid. When we got to the studio to record it, I was 19 years old. And it was such a overwhelming experience that I didn't realize at the time, but I was confident in those songs. Changes, Modern Day Cowboy, Coming at You Alive, Easy Come, Easy Go. That album mixed with the time frame that we did it for me personally is probably my favorite.
Awesome.
And then fast forward to Psychotic Supper is probably my next favorite. Again, because of the songs, Song and Emotion, What You Give, Edison's Medicine, Call It What You Want. And that album, we made it while we were living in New York City, in Manhattan. And at that time, I was probably 23, 24 years old, living in Manhattan. I'll let you figure out the rest.
Yeah, thinking back, yeah, you couldn't have been that old. I know I wasn't that old. Um, those are some great albums, and I always thought about y'all were on a roll with those albums, right? And then all of a sudden, grunge came along and kind of slowed everything down. What was your experience with that as far as I know you released like Bust a Nut, which was a great album that kind of got covered up and all that. I know if it was a different time frame, if you released it years earlier, some of those albums would have been better. How did you how did you react to those days?
Well, the 90s were definitely a harder period for us. But really, it wasn't grunge. It was our own fault. Bust a Nut is a great album, but we were already internally having problems. So the external stuff you're talking about, grunge, it didn't really matter for us and our fans. Because we were never really the poster child anyway. Even during the glam days, we weren't on the cover of all the magazines as being a glam band. So when grunge came out and Nirvana and Pearl Jam and all the style changed, it didn't matter because we weren't really affected by those trends anyway. And we had such a fan base. So we were playing arenas already. So I don't blame grunge for us. Or it's really cheesy or whatever, then maybe grunge kind of killed those bands. But for us, it was more our own fault. We were like burnt out and partying too much and had problems.
Yeah, I understand. Well, after a band breaks up though and gets back together,
Now, what's that?
I was going to say after a band breaks up and gets back together, do you kind of reinvent yourself, and does that make you stronger as a band when you go away and come back?
Well, yeah, it does. I mean, that was chapter one. The 90s were definitely a tough era for us. We broke up for a few years, and then we got back in 2000. We got back together and have been working our asses off ever since. And here we are now, 2023 years later, chapters 2, 3, and 4. I'm we're very lucky and grateful that we survived our breakup. Now, I've examined a lot of other bands, and it's the same old freaking story. In fact, my father-in-law is Dickie Betts of the Allman Brothers. And he was telling me that when I first met him 23 years ago, he was like, you know what, man? Every fucking band is the same. It's the same bullshit. They get together, they create something great, they fight and they break up. The Allman Brothers broke up fucking 20 times in the 70s. you know, And it's true. Like you look at Soundgarden, and they broke up. Now, God bless Chris Cornell. That was tragic,
Yeah.
but they broke up, and then they tried to rebuild it. Van Halen, same thing. Every band has like a 10-year run, their first 10 years, where they break it out and they freaking deliver killer music, and then they implode and they break up. And then they get back together and then they have to rebuild it. And luckily for us, we did that and have maintained momentum for the past 23 years of surviving our breakup. But it's a same old story, man. Rock and roll, we're not reinventing everything. You know, this is all, every band has the same freaking hangups. It's very difficult, you know, to what we do is not easy. I'll tell you, man, coordinating a band and a crew and a bus and the hotels and the flights, writing songs, recording them, getting together, all of that stuff is not easy. So that's a news flash for you.
I didn't know. Yeah, who knew? Nah. Um, so what is it about these guys? I mean, somebody like Jeff, I mean, he's got to be a likable guy, or or you'd pull your hair out. There's got to be some things that you probably find annoying, but overall, it's got to be a good relationship with those guys to do that every night.
Yeah, well, we're family, man. We're so familiar with each other. We've known each other for 40 years, and we've been through so many highs and lows and hard times and great times. All of us have been divorced and gone through painful problems personally, but still come back together as Tesla. And so, we appreciate each other. Yeah, sure, we pull each other's hair out, we get on each other's nerves, but we've figured out a way to figure each other out and respect each other's personality differences and make it work for the greater good of
Right.
the Tesla team of the whole.
Yeah, I get that. And probably helps with writing songs too. All that you go through probably makes for a good song here and there, right?
Yeah, yeah. We're still cranking it out. We had a song called Time to Rock, which is basically written about our frame of mind coming back from the whole COVID fucking lockdown, the
Yeah.
shutdown and all that. Getting back to that. Jeff's got a song called All About Love that he always sings about love from the heart. And so we're going to put that together. Me personally, I'm a songwriter. I've got a new solo album I'm going to put out hopefully this year that I've been working on. And I've got a song talking about how hard it is to always have to catch a flight and leave and be somewhere. So that song's called It's Time to Ride the Wind again. And, so you get these ideas from your life experiences, and Tesla's got such a catalog of songs, as I do as a solo artist. I got probably 50 songs out there that I've released. And the songs are like your babies. They're like your children, and that's what keeps Tesla together. Whenever we're on stage and we're playing and I'm playing What You Give and Jeff starts singing, Who's the One That Makes You Happy?
Yeah.
It all comes together. And those are our children.
Wow. And I'm sure there's a lot of songs like that that have so much meaning, but the fans can relate to these songs so much. I think that's one of the reasons why the fans love you, is because the songs touch their heart. And Jeff has a way of singing them, and you have a way of playing them. Don't you find playing guitar with his singing kind of goes hand in hand? Do you find yourself kind of having that? Don't it stir up your emotions too when you hear a singer like that playing, and when you're playing?
Oh, I knew the first minute I heard Jeff Keith sing when he sat in with us in a club in 1983 or 82. We were at a club and he sat in with us, and he was standing next to me, and he didn't know how to hold the microphone, but he was standing right there. And I heard him sing. I knew instantly that I wanted him to be in our band and be our singer. And the chemistry between he and I with the acoustic guitar or whatever guitar riffs, and his singing. Yes, I value that very much. He's my favorite singer I've ever worked with, and I'm very proud of the music we've created together.
Awesome. And as far as when you're out there playing and things like that, you're talking about his voice and things like that. So everybody has a time frame, I guess they could sing, but you're going to keep going and playing as long as he can go. I know some people can't do it anymore, right? Some bands are retiring. I know Steven Tyler has the issues with his vocals. I know it gets rough.
Yeah, we don't have a crystal ball, but for right now, we're doing everything we can to keep it going. We're changing the keys of our songs a little bit. We're tuning our guitars down a little bit. We're turning down our volume a little bit. We're working as a team to keep it going, and we value his singing, and that's why people ask us for some of the craziest songs that we did 40 years ago. Hey, why don't you play Flight to Nowhere? Well, why don't you listen to all the screaming in it, and that'll tell you why we don't play it. We want to do we want to be around for another few more years, not just blow his voice out. So, it's just like an athlete on a football team, man. You have to work as a team. You have to look at your quarterback and, make him not do crazy plays. You're not going to send your quarterback running right into the defense. Well, that's the same thing. We're not going to send our singer into problems. So we're going to keep doing this as long as we can, as long as it's real. We're never going to be a band that's rolling tape or doing a fake show. It's always going to be real. And that's our motto, keeping it real. And on that note, man, I got to go. I'm running out of time. I got another interview to do. So, Gary, thank you for having me on your show. And let's do this again when I release my solo album.
That sounds like a plan, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for talking to me today.
Okay, man. You have a great day.
All right, man. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you'd like to know more about the band Tesla, head on over to teslatheband.com and also frankhannon.com and find out some cool stuff about his solo career. And until next time, everybody, always remember to keep the music real.